AWS User Group UK. Would love to be with you in person, but because of the lives that we're all leading at the moment, I'm stuck at home. I am the head of solutions architecture for the storage specialist team at AWS in EMEA. And I'm here with a friend of mine who, while I'm in the home office, he's currently locked outdoors. Kirk, tell us about it.
Hi everyone, and warm welcome to the user group here. So yeah, as you can see, I have a different not fake background today, and I'm taking remote working to the extreme because I actually got locked out of my house. So I'm actually doing it from the garden, but you know, we'll keep the excitement levels up for today's session and just something a little bit different for everyone.
I could have helped you there and just said you were getting the last of the summer in, you know, but no, just decided to let you know currently he's out in his backyard at the moment.
Yes.
And at some stage I may remotely unlock his house and leave him back in. No, that's not.
It's a new beta feature of the Ring doorbell.
How dare you, sir? It's like, no, it's all good. But yes, so thank you for joining us today. Where this session was because it was planned ahead. I think we were looking at doing a much more generic file server session about how you manage file data in enterprise environments or in any IT environment. But we went that direction because we had a brand new service. We at AWS had a brand new service coming out, and it hadn't been announced yet. So today, what we're probably going to focus on, we'll touch on the other file system as well, what we're going to focus on is the Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP file system. What a mouthful. Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP, SEO out the window, right? So there you go. You just put your search engine optimization in there, SEO all over the place. I use the shorthand FSXN.
That's it, FSXN. That's we're starting this here. This is what it will be.
Yeah, this is what it's going to be known as, FSXN. When we talk about our FSX line of managed service file systems, there's a number of them now. There's 3 of them now. There's Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP, which we're going to be discussing today. There's Amazon for FSx Windows File Server, and then there's Amazon for FSx Lustre, right? 3 different things. You're wondering, what are the use cases? Well, if you look at if I was to make it easy, I think the on-premises comparison would be for FSXN, it's going to be NetApp and other enterprise storage arrays that you may have deployed on-premises. So that's a good comparison. For FSXW, right, for Windows File Server, you're talking about Windows File Servers who have that entire end-to-end Windows File Server environment that you've deployed. And then for FSx for Lustre, FSXL, parallel file systems, your machine learning, your HPC, your media processing. So you have your Lustre, which are machine learning, data analytics, etc., etc. You have FSX for Windows, which is going to be your general purpose Windows file shares. And then you have FSXN, our new edition, which is going to be, again, general purpose file systems, databases, dev test, if you want to do ONTAP storage in the cloud, right? ONTAP storage in the cloud. And that's where we see that. And the advantage of this model, by doing what we've done, 3 file systems there, we're going to focus on one, is using that FSX technology that we have to deliver an incredibly popular enterprise grade file system, NetApp ONTAP. And it's not just a file system, it's an entire operating system with data management features built in. But to deliver that as a fully managed service with the AWS pricing model, you get block and file support. You're talking iSCSI, NFS, SMB. There is automatic tiering built in there. There is auditing with things like F-policy. There is vScan for antivirus. When you start using this thing, I am going to say you're going to look at it and you go, oh, that's the ONTAP I know, and hopefully you'll just get on and do your job, right? That's
no caveats.
If we do the job well, you're going to have, and you're going to be able to deploy ONTAP file systems up to 192 terabytes in the performance tier and petabyte scale in the capacity tier with automatic tiering to move the data between those two tiers. And you're talking for read throughput, I think is something like 2 gig per second, write throughput 1 gig up to 1 gig a second. So it's all very exciting, and it's all enterprise file storage. So Kirk, you are work for our partner on this technology, NetApp. So it is an AWS managed service, but of course those decades of feature functionality that NetApp have worked on are what are going to be exposed in the service. What's the NetApp view on this?
I mean, this is obviously a phenomenal offering for anyone that's looking at either migrating services to the cloud. Of course, if you live and breathe NetApp, you've got an existing NetApp system. Basically, it's just got very easy to extend or move your entire NetApp estate into AWS. So it's very simple because you don't lose any functionality. You pay for it in your AWS model. It's supported through all your native AWS support case. Everything is just as you would expect an AWS service. My view on this as well is that for the first time, you're starting to look at sort of unification of file systems as well. Up until this point, it's always been very difficult to architect systems to share data quite quickly between each other. Especially more legacy applications. They weren't built that way. There was always, here's a server, here's a storage, that's attached to that. And then there were other solutions you had to put in there to share things. Obviously, modern architecture, very different. You're more on buses and queues and things like that. But for those things where you may be looking at, how do I go and move some of these applications or these gigantic multiple gigabytes of data in a very supported fashion, maintaining my permissions, maintaining my instructions, maintaining my entire business process of how we manage and secure and do all the things that you do today without having to retrain or re-architect. I think that's a huge win for a lot of people that are looking to do this in AWS as well. The other thing that I like about it is this, of course, you have been able to do this with CVO, so Cloud Volumes ONTAP, but that was always, it was infrastructure as a service mainly. So you'd have to go and deploy it, patch it, which arguably, okay, it's like the App Store, you get a little red dot, click upgrade, and that was it really. But it's still, it wasn't self-managing, it wasn't any of that. Here, everything is done for you. So you are literally saying, please give me 1 terabyte of NFS storage or 1 terabyte of SMB storage. Or do you know what? How about I get a few terabytes of SMB and NFS storage so that my Unix clients that need to talk to my Windows scanners as a process can all share one storage instead of me having to buy the storage twice and think of some weird replication process between the two. Why don't I just natively have that there? And we see a lot of that in like genome sequencing and medical and those sort of use cases as well. So I think this is fantastic to see for AWS, the fact that you can get all the great benefits of an extremely popular, what up until now has been a marketplace offering, as a native, fully managed AWS service, and it's great to see.
And I'd like to raise the point on multi-protocol there, and it's a good one because with multi-protocol, you can sometimes just brush that off where people go, does it support multi-protocol? And you go, oh, do you really need it? I mean, we've this, that, and the other. But I think, and it's a small percentage of the market, but it tends to be a critical percentage of data, right? A critical percentage of data that needs this SMB or NFS access, and now that's going to be available through AWS. CVO, CVS, those are the other NetApp offerings that are out there. I think the differentiator here is the FSXN, Amazon FSX for NetApp ONTAP, is completely part of the AWS ecosystem. So heading towards 200 services, right? We're heading towards 200 services inside of AWS, and it is going to be the case that as time rolls on, deeper and deeper integrations are going to be available from those services and FSXN. So if today you might be using it for, if you decide to use it, you might use it for cloud bursting, you might do various other things, but it's going to come down to the fact that you want to wire it up to artificial intelligence, the AI services, you want to do SageMaker, you want to do all these things. Those are, if they don't exist, if the interactions aren't there today, they're going to be there soon. Because once this thing is in, it's going to begin connecting connecting to every other service that's going to be available out there. So the base infrastructure already is, key management is already in there. It's billing, etc., capacity, putting how you deploy throughput. All these things are going to be integrated. Well, they are integrated right now. But the thing is that it's just, what services do we add from here? We have this expression at Amazon, which anyone who's used to hearing from people from Amazon will be tired of. It's always day one. Well, it's day one here for FSX, for NetApp ONTAP as well. And as time goes on, we're going to go off and start wiring in all these additional services to NetApp ONTAP and allow people to leverage the rest of AWS. And that's quite exciting when you consider what it can do for you, what it can enable for you with just you making a decision. Instead of you going off having to do this, you can make a decision, you can try something, try the experiment. It may succeed, it may fail. Hey, when you're done, tear it down. And that's the whole thing as well with the FSXN. When you're done, you can leave it there, or if not, you can just rip it down and move on to the next thing. And that doesn't matter if you have petabytes of data up there, or if you have you just have a few gig, right? So, usually the terabyte.
And to coin the elasticity of the service there, the fact that you can scale up and scale down, you can match that utilization curve, both in terms of storage but also performance as well, means that you can be optimized both from a consumption perspective but also a cost perspective, because those two obviously go hand in hand. The closer you can match your utilization, if it's predictable, brilliant. If it's unpredictable, you can probably come up with something that can kind of start identifying when demand increases or decreases. And I suppose that comes to a nice point of, well, how can you interact with it as well? So we can show you, and we'll show you a little bit later, obviously, of course, it's in the web console. You can see that there. But you've got the CLI and obviously all the native APIs available as well, right? So again, just to say, it's fully integrated.
And there is, I believe, NetApp have a cloud manager piece of software that's available. And some of my colleagues who would have in-depth NetApp experience, they just logged in with the NetApp CLI, the REST interface, were able to do it. And they looked at it and went, yeah, that's fine. And then they moved off and did it like, yep, that's ONTAP. I know it.
That's ONTAP.
And away they went, right? And the thing, it being a fully managed service, is that absolutely great deep partnership with NetApp going back years at this stage. But this is an AWS service, which means you acquire it from us, we operate it, we take care of the high availability because that's how it's deployed. It's deployed in a high availability fashion. We take care of all the replication under the covers to make sure that there is that high availability. And if you have a support request, that comes through us, right? So it is an end-to-end, great, deep technical partnership with NetApp, but you can acquire it however you choose to acquire it. You can simply go to the console, press the button, billing starts, so you start using it.
Yeah, absolutely. So gone are the days where you're waiting a few weeks for some kit to arrive. You've got to rack, stack, cable it, and then worry about making sure it doesn't overheat and things like that. All that's gone. AWS deal with that for you. So you are simply saying, please give me some space for my use case, and I can tag it and manage it in just the same way I do all my other AWS resources. I can secure it in the same way, and as Mark was saying there, you can integrate and use it in the native services. I believe EKS was one of the first ones that was integrated. So if you are in the world of Kubernetes and you're looking at, could I get some more highly available storage and flexible storage for my requirements? We've seen some great success with people plumbing things ONTAP into Kubernetes and seeing everything from decreased build times, increased throughput, lower latencies, and just the fact that they can then add the protective services around it as well. So instant backup, instant restore, cloning, and the other features that can really help your processes when it comes to testing, UAT, and other environments as well. There's so much so that we've got to try and cram it in the next 5 minutes. But with that, I'll just share the tab, and I suppose let's show the audience, Mark, what it looks like and how to get started. Okay. So what we've got here is basically the main FSX tab. You can see I've got to it just directly through my portal, so you can see It is entirely native. So through the management console, I can just click FSX. I'm not going in the marketplace here at all. And if it's the first time you're going in, you'll be seeing you will see the FSX main landing page, and you can see, as Mark mentioned there are a variety of services with FSXN, as we'll call it now, being the latest there. So if we go to actually create a file system, again, nothing too new here. You can see FSXN, and it tells you some of the main features there. We already showed, look, extremely feature-rich. This is one of the most feature-rich storage operating systems on the planet today. Everything from the highly optimized block-level replication. How can that change the world for you? Well, we pay data egress charges, remember, when we move things between regions? Basically, if you move less data, you're going to pay less. Very quick win for a lot of people there, especially moving things in and out of it. And again, if you are an existing ONTAP customer, just remember, you've probably got a 2, maybe 3 to 1 storage efficiency right now on a lot of your systems. So you've just reduced the payload that you have to move into AWS by a third compared to if you had to replicate it using it and rehydrate it and everything else. So that's going to have a direct impact on reducing the amount of time that it takes you to move data into AWS, and also the costs as well associated of doing that. So obviously moving your data in the cloud is free, but you may have some hybrid architecture where data comes back out again. That's going to be a great sort of benefit that you'll get from the system. We mentioned it is, again, Linux, Windows, Mac OS compute instances as well, running both on AWS or on premises. And it is the industry standard NFS, SMB, and iSCSI protocols. I believe it's 3, 4, 4.1, and obviously iSCSI as well. All the management capabilities. So snapshots, hey, we've all heard about snapshots. Well, another half an hour session, I can tell you why NetApp snapshots different to anyone else. I'm not going to go down that route. Just remember, these are some of the fastest restores you'll ever see in the industry. Absolutely fantastic. So if you do have a major issue with business continuity, a corruption, a crypto lock, whatever it may be, these are your get out of jail card, and they are extremely quick, regardless of the data size. SnapMirror is our brand name for replication, so that is extremely efficient block level replication. And then if you ever do a copy operation, please don't. Just use a flex clone. It means you can do it instantly. So you don't have to wait for that little blue bar in Windows saying that it's 99 minutes estimated. You come back after 600 minutes and it's still saying it's 99
99%. Yeah, just finishing up, just finalizing.
All there. And then, of course, anything that can reduce your footprint in terms of the data. So compression, there's compaction under the covers that you won't see. And then there's obviously deduplication as well. One of the things Mark mentioned there, the tiering. So did you know 99% of data, once it's written and accessed in the first minute, is never accessed ever again? So why not automatically have your storage system put that in the coldest tier without having to re-architect your applications? That's exactly what this is going to do for you. And of course, there's the usual things that you come to expect that we take for granted, Mark, really, like normal Microsoft Active AD support, just things that we take for granted. But I have seen in other deployments and things like that, where things like that aren't supported can be a real headache when they're not. So here we go. Let's do the AWS user group UK. We'll put some capacity in. So maybe we'll do 2 terabytes for now, 2048. It goes straight into VPC as well, so it's like a private endpoint straight into VPC, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So you'll get one in each availability zone for high availability, so your endpoints will exist. It'll then take care of the failover between those as is required. Which is awesome, right? It's not a public IP, it's secured, it's directly connected to your systems there. And storage efficiency, I don't know why this is even an option, to be honest, but yeah, enabled. Yeah, and it's not like you're paying for CPU or something, you just turn it on. Crank it, crank it to 11. Yeah. Get it going, yeah. It's like it's savings everywhere, saving replication, savings data on disk, great savings. Keep going. Sorry, Kirk.
No worries. And this is basically 5 years of ONTAP expertise. I mean, at the time, I was an ONTAP expert for a few years back before I jumped into the cloud and left that knowledge behind. But this is basically everything I needed to know has just been done in, 2 screens? So my file system, it's already going to be highly available. It's multi-AZ. I'm using SSD for my fast data. Here's my IOPS, here's my throughput capacity, and all the other bits and pieces that you can see on there with backup already built in.
Yeah.
So
backup built in, maintenance window taken care of too.
Excellent. Tagging as well. So obviously, you know, if you're automating any of this or cost management or billing, any of that, tagging fully supported. Again, it is a native AWS resource. And then just some things around, here's the file system, and I'll hit create. And typically it's around just less than 20 minutes or so, isn't it, Mark?
It's about that, yeah. It's a 15, 20 minutes. I would have an exact number for you, but I set it going, went downstairs, boiled the kettle. You know, there was a bit of that, came upstairs, oh, we're done. That was how it went when I did it the first time. So I was like, yeah, I don't need to time it. I know it's 15, 20 minutes. We'll be good.
Exactly. So that's it. I mean, you know, really powerful system. Invite everyone here to have a look at that, try it out. If you're wondering where it is, just, you know, any search will get you there. FSXN, FSX, NetApp for ONTAP, whatever to call it this week. And we thoroughly invite you to try it out, give it a go, and really look forward to any questions that you have from this session today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kirk. Amazon FSX for NetApp ONTAP. How do you get there? You can get there with SnapMirror. You can get there with DataSync. You can get there with Snowball. You can get there with NetApp Cloud Sync, I believe. And if you don't want to do any of that, you can get there with RoboCopy. So it's entirely up to you how you want to get there, but get there. And this was great. But this is, as I said, it's always day one at AWS. There's this now. There's more coming as we add more to this technology going forward. Is going to be a hell of an adventure. So looking forward to that, and come along with us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, so we're now joined from inside his house, Kirk, and inside his house, Mark. Welcome to the meetup group, as it is in its virtual incarnation. Very interesting to see this as a whole thing. To be honest, like I think of NetApp as kind of boring on-prem stuff. Like, you know, been around a long time, solved a lot of problems, like just sort of disappears into the background. Now seeing it show up in AWS, pretty interesting. With my SA Pro hat on, as I'm sure some of the people on the Twitch chat are also Solutions Architect Pro certified people. I'm always interested in kind of where does this fit next to everything else, right? We already had EFS, which was an NFS store. This seems to do things involving kind of moving data from on-prem into the cloud. Like, how does that compare to the storage gateway stuff? Like, talk me through why you would use this over those other offerings in an infrastructure.
If I'll just drop in here first. Thanks for having us on.
Sure.
It is a case that I did leave my house. The shirt changed, you should notice, in case you thought I was stuck indoors and he was. But what I will say is, and I just want to point out, Mark earlier raised the bar on videos. He truly did. You know, when I was watching his presentation earlier. But where this, to get your question, why this matters is quite simply is that there are a significant number of file systems available that do a multitude of different things. What the functionality that's inside of the FSX for NetApp ONTAP offering is significant in that it offers multi-protocol, in that it has data management functionality that has evolved over a number of years. So there is a place for the portfolio that we have in place with Amazon, be it EFS, with NFS, FSX for Windows Server, for file server consolidation. There's Lustre. There is now this. A significant number of customers on premises are using NetApp for particular workloads, electronic design workloads. They're things that there are advantages to the storage operating system and its data management features that customers said, I would love to go to AWS, but there's things I need. And you know what? This is a way of bringing customers what they asked for.
Gotcha. Anything to add to that, Kirk, or has Mark covered the breadth of it?
Yeah, I think Mark's covered a lot of it there, but it is just really the this is the same. If you look at your estate and if you do have a SAN or a NAS in place, then this is the easiest way of moving a lot of those workloads, whether you move them entirely or you bridge it in a hybrid fashion directly into AWS. And it will be supported as you would expect with all the features, not just the fact there's the volume available, but everything around that, how you monitor it, how you provision it, how you can scale the performance. In much the same way as obviously, we've said anyone with ONTAP will immediately be at home with this product. It is ONTAP. There's no, we haven't taken features and nerfed them anywhere or anything like that. But really to him is you don't need ONTAP to use this. If you have any SAN or NAS that's on-prem and you've been thinking this is quite a difficult workload to move, perhaps it's the performance envelope, perhaps it's that the compliance requirements you have around it that just require things like F policy, for example, then you can now move those very quickly and easily, but very efficiently directly into AWS because of the replication technologies that are also built in as well. So, I'll see that as it'll be a very popular service because of all the offerings that it has around the actual file serving as the primary piece.
And some people standardize, just to jump in on that, some people standardize on the snap and replicate technology as well. It's what they have a heavy investment in, and that preserves that investment, even if it is your stuff on premises.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one of the main features that I've absolutely loved for a long time is the ability to, if you ever find yourself doing a copy of anything and watching a bar incrementally grow, well, you can get rid of that. You can clone entire environments in less than the blink of an eye without consuming any additional space. And if it sounds like magic, go and give it a go, because this is what made NetApp the company it is today. And now, just to really hit home, this is now an AWS managed service, and you get to do this without having to learn the 5 years worth of NetApp that you probably would have had to learn to get this value out of it. So it's fantastic to be able to get this as a managed service directly from AWS. Yeah. And it's not a marketplace offering, it's a first party AWS offering.
Right. So I guess the marketplace offering was previously an AMI running on a EC2 instance kind of set up, and today I'm assuming you may not be able to answer this. I'm assuming that this is now it's a first party service in as far as it is running on Nitro hardware and has access to all the storage backplane and everything that all of the other kit has in order to reach.
Sorry, you were breaking up there. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like I appear to have wandered into the wrong call. Is that the doorbell? Always, I understand, being a technologist myself, why people are interested in such things. But what it is, all you need to know is that it's a fully managed AWS service. What happens after that, we leave that to a bunch of experts that we have in house. It's magic.
Yeah. I figured we might not get an answer to that question. So the fact that this is not a marketplace offering, what does that mean? That if today I'm using NetApp ONTAP as an AMI from the marketplace, is it worth me just adopting this wholesale and migrating to it? What are the things that I get to not have to do every day or every week or every month if I adopt this managed service over and above the marketplace offering?
It's a great question, and Mark, I'll just have a quick 30 seconds on that. Where I believe it comes in is the question of, do you want to continue with infrastructure as a service, or would you like your storage as a service? So removing the fact that the cloud volumes on tap piece, the infrastructure is provided by AWS, but you're still responsible for updating the actual application that's running on there, ONTAP itself, everything else. In terms of features and functionality, very, very much the same. But the other alternative you get is increased performance, because you can break through the limits of what's typically possible within a VM running an AMI. Again, just that full wraparound of you get the added benefit of the native portal for managing it, the native logging capabilities, the native APIs, the CLI, or with the AWS badge in it, as opposed to having that just it's not a massive pitfall, but you have to learn the NetApp way of doing things. This new way, you can do it the the AWS way.
Right, and is all of the functionality of ONTAP now therefore presented through AWS APIs, or are there some things that you would still need to go to the sort of traditional NetApp interfaces to manage?
I would say if you are an existing NetApp user and you have a deep understanding of the REST API that ONTAP presents, what I would do is that I would just simply kick up your file system, start going through the NetApp CLI. You're going to just zoom along the way you typically zoomed along. The majority, and I don't want to, because people will come back and say, what about point odd? That doesn't appear to be there right now. The majority of functionality is there. It's set up I just want to swing back to the earlier question. I mean, yes, you can deploy things as EC2 instances, IP them, security groups, patch them, etc., etc. Manage service, on the other hand, click, 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 boom, CloudFormation. It's there in a CloudFormation template, so on, so on. It's a fully managed service. So you should expect that. And when it comes to performance tuning as well, heavily performance tuned. So what you should expect for the advantages of all of this, the fact that you can you have all that in place, and you have the feature functionality of ONTAP, and the majority of it is there. You're going to ask me, well, what isn't? Well, the thing is that nothing major springs to mind that isn't right now, but I'm sure there's always something. Someone will say, well, there's a feature in the user interface that's mauve. Can it be mauve again? But the thing is that this is the ONTAP, right? So just get at it.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Anything else to add before we wrap up? Is there anything that you wish that I'd asked that I haven't, or that you forgot to put in the video as a side effect of accidentally being outside?
It's 75 days to reinvent. That's all I want to throw in right now. So what do you do? Why aren't you ready yet? No, it's 75 days to reinvent. I will say I'd like to thank you for your time. I understand that when we were discussing doing this, was before the service was announced, and there were some awkward questions. What do you want to talk about? And it was like, it's like nothing. But you indulged us in that matter. But so I appreciate that. But I would say about this is that it is a case. It's there. It's in the user interface. Go get it. Right. It's if you're looking for file-based storage, iSCSI-based storage, and this is for whatever workload you have, it's there. Go at it. Highly available. We take care of failover. We take care of patching. We take care of backup. Shared responsibility model for security, folks. Let's always get that right. Yep. But when it comes to the infrastructure, it's on us.
Right. Anything from you, Kirk?
Just echo exactly what Mark said there. I think give it a go. And also, one thing we didn't mention is obviously one of the other advantages is it's the native integrations it has with the upstream services as well. So I believe you look at EKS as one of them there. That can automatically take advantage of it as well, give you more performance, lower latency, those sort of things. So just give it a go. Great technical resources. I have to pat the AWS folks on the back. They've excelled at the technical documentation and all of the blogs around it. So yeah, absolutely. There's tons of detail. And if you need to reach out and get some more, then myself and Mark can certainly help.
Great. And how long were you stuck outside your house for, Kirk, in the final analysis?
2 days.
Yeah. No, this is a fake background. I'm still outside.
He's still out there now. He brought the green screen out.
Right. So thanks for joining us on the feed. Hopefully we'll see you in person when we finally get to do that. Maybe we'll run into reInvent if any of us actually make it out to reInvent with the travel restrictions and everything else. I do have a ticket, but we'll see what happens with the all this stuff that's going on. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again.
See you in 75 days.
Cheers.